Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for checking out this video of my sports gematria. Going to be talking about Monday Night Football, the Bears versus the Vikings. I wanted to make a video on this one in particular just because we've been following a Bears pattern with Nick Foles for the last 5 games. Let me explain to you what that pattern is. So when Nick Foles took the reins this season, let me bring up ESPN just so I know what games I'm talking about. Give me 1 second here. So Nick Foles took over. I'm on my second monitor. You can't see me clicking over to it, but Nick Foles took over against the Carolina Panthers Sunday, October 18th. So Nick Foles, in Nick Foles' 51st start for his career, uh, the Bears beat the Carolina Panthers in October, and they became 5-1 for a season record in Nick Foles' 51st start. And then in Nick Foles' 52nd start, the Bears lost to the Rams. Let me just bring so you guys can see this. So in Nick Foles' 51st start, they beat Carolina. They become 5-1 for a record. In Nick Foles' 52nd start, they lose to Los Angeles and become 5-2 for a record. In Nick Foles' 53rd start, they lose to New Orleans and became 5-3 for a record. In Nick Foles' 54th start, they became 5-4 with the loss against Tennessee. So if we go along with that pattern, this is Nick Foles' 55th start tonight. And with the loss, Bears would become 5-5 for a season record. Now, you can argue that, this pattern isn't going to go on forever, and I agree with you. Eventually either Nick Foles is going to get replaced or they're going to win a game. One of the two is going to happen. And so I don't expect the Bears to follow this pattern all the way through the end of the season. In his 56th game, go 5-6, 57th game, go 5-7. However, with that being said, there's something special about this season and the number 55, and that is that this is the 101st NFL season, which ends with Super Bowl 55. So maybe since we've been following this Nick Foles pattern 51, 52, 53, 54, maybe the ritual, quote unquote, is for the Bears to become 5-5 in Nick Foles' 55th start. Chicago Bears sums to 55. Bears are sitting on 55 regular season head-to-head wins against the Vikings where they can stay. This is week 10 of the NFL. 55 mathematically is the 10th Fibonacci number and the 10th triangular number. And maybe for the season that ends with Super Bowl 55, this is how it goes down. It's going to be hard for me to pick against that pattern since we've just seen it play out so many times already. 51st start, they go 5-1. 52nd start, they go 5-2, 5-3, 5-4. This is their last game before a bye week. I'm only going to assume that the Bears are going to go 5-5 in a season that ends with Super Bowl 55 and Nick Foles' 55th start. Chicago Bears sums to 55, and they're sitting on 55 regular season head-to-head wins against the Vikings. Now, to add to that, today has 67 date numerology on the Gregorian. 67 sums to 45. It's a day leaving 45 days left in the Gregorian year. This game taking place in Illinois, which sums to 45. Bears sums to 45. The Vikings would become 4-5 for a season record with the win, like 45. Mathematically speaking, the number 9, or excuse me, the number 45 is the 9th triangular number, and this would all come at the hands of Nick Foles, who wears the number 9. 67 mathematically is the 19th prime number. 19 mathematically is the 8th prime number. Kirk Cousins wears the number 8. This might be his time to finally get his first ever primetime win on Monday Night Football. He's currently 0-9 in Monday Night Football. That is not a good stat. That's a terrible stat because it makes me think he might go 0-10 in week 10 of the NFL. 55, the 10th triangular number. That's the way the numbers could swing. But if he wins, he become 1-9, like 19. 19 is the eighth prime number. He wears the number 8. Today was 67, date numerology. 67, the 19th prime. 67 sums to 45. They become 4 and 5 for a season record on top of that. So that's a scary stat right here. Kirk Cousins completely has not had a single win on Monday Night Football in his entire career. So that's a terrible stat. Although he could just sit on 9 against the number 9 quarterback as they become 4 and 5 for the season, the ninth triangular number. Um, Today does have 59 date numerology on the Hebrew Civil, the 17th prime. Bears coach can get a 17th regular season loss. Mike Zimmer sums to 59. And Kirk Cousins can sit on 17 regular season losses as a Viking. That's most likely the narrative I'm going to be going with. I don't think I'm going to come off the 55 with Nick Foles. We've been following it for the last games with them. How many games has it been? 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's been 4 games with this pattern. Nick Foles 51, they go 5 and 1. Nick Foles 52, they go 5 and 2. First time's a coincidence, or excuse me, first time's an accident. Second time's a coincidence. The third time's a pattern, and they've already done it 4 times in a row. So let's go ahead and just staple it on the 5th time in a row and say Vikings are gonna win, and Bears become 5-5, and Nick Foles 55th start. Clear pattern there. However, with that being said, I am going to blow your mind and show you the path for the Bears to win. And I know some of you probably don't want to see this, but it's here. It's very clear. All right, so let's start with this. This game is taking place in Soldier Field, 64, 118, 206. Let's mark that light blue. This is the 118th regular season head-to-head matchup between these two, and it's coming in Soldier Field, 118. With the win, Bears would become 6 and 4 for this season. In Soldier Field, 6-4, 118, 118th regular season game. It's 206 days since the Bears coach's 42nd birthday. This is his 42nd game, 42nd birthday. 206 days since his 42nd birthday. Soldier Field sums to 206, 118, 64. Bears 6 and 4. Can become 6 and 4 with the win in the 118th regular season game head to head. Okay. The number 26, Matt Nagy, get his 26th win regular season, sums to 42 and 159. It's 159 days till his next 43rd birthday. His name sums to 43, and he can get his 26th win. You see that? Nick Foles would sit on 26 regular season losses. You see that? 64. Vikings, Mike Zimmer, he's currently 64 years old. And one thing I bet you didn't know about the number 64 is 64 has a square root of 8. So 8 times 8 is sums to 64. The number 8 quarterback, Kirk Cousins, could be the reason why Bears become 6 and 4. And as I already talked about, yes, this is a season that ends with Super Bowl 55. This is week 10 of the NFL. 55 is the 10th triangular number. Yes, this is Nick Foles' 55th start. Yes, the Bears sums to 55. Yes, they could sit on 55 regular season losses or regular season wins against the Vikings. And they could become 5 and 5 for a season record with the loss. However, with that said, this is Kirk Cousins' 10th Monday night game. He is 0 and 9 on Monday Night Football. He can become 0 and 10 in week 10 of the NFL, a season that ends with Super Bowl 55, the 10th triangular number. Vikings don't play any other primetime game for the rest of the season. This is the last primetime game. So that could be the reason. That could be it right there. This is 10. He would get his 10th loss on primetime in week 10. And that would be it. So with Matt Nagy being as connected as he is with the 64 and the 118 for the Soldier Field, 206, 42, gets his 26th win. Bears could win this. It's very easy. This isn't an easy game to pick. You know? Vikings, Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer sums to 122. Home teams for the week would end 12-2, like 122. It is the 59th day of the Hebrew Civil Year, and home teams can get their 77th win. 77 sums to 59. So there's a very clear avenue for Bears to win, and there's a very fascinating pattern for the Bears to lose that has been going on for the last 4 games. I am most likely going to go with the pattern just because it's hit for the last 4 games, and we've been tracking it and we've been following it ever since the 5-1. At least I have, ever since Nick Foles came in, was put in as a starter in his 51st start for the Bears, and they became 5-1. Then they became 5-2 in his 52nd, 5-3 in his 53rd, 5-4 in his 54th. I don't see why they wouldn't become 5-5 in his 55th, heading into the bye week. But there is a very clear Matt Nagy pattern in Soldier Field for a Bears win. So don't ignore that. Even Kirk Cousins, I mean, he is atrocious on Monday Night Football. He hasn't had a single win in the last 9 games on Monday Night Football. What makes you think he's going to win tonight? I don't know. Kirk Cousins does sum to 76. And home teams could stay on 76 wins for the season with a Vikings win, thanks to Kirk Cousins. So here's both sides of the coin. Make your best guess. My final pick will be in writing, as always. You kind of already know which way I'm going to go. I'm probably going to just stick with the pattern that we've already known and seen for the last couple weeks. But just note there's a very clear path for the Vikings to lose as well, given the Bears 6-4 for the season and Soldier Field 64.